Losing feelings rarely happens overnight. It's usually a slow, quiet fade, one small shift at a time, and by the time it's obvious to everyone, it's often already been happening for a while underneath the surface. A lot of people miss the early signs simply because they're subtle, easy to explain away, easy to dismiss as a busy week or a bad mood that'll pass. Today, I'm breaking down 5 signs she's secretly losing feelings, plus a bonus sign at the end that a lot of people misread completely. Stay till the end, because number 5 is the one that's easiest to mistake for something else entirely. Let's get into it. 1. She stops initiating conversations. This is usually one of the first shifts, and it's easy to miss at first because it happens gradually, one skipped text at a time. She used to text first, bring up plans, start conversations just because she wanted to talk to you, no real reason needed. Now most of the communication comes from your side, and hers has quietly become mostly responsive rather than initiated, answering rather than reaching out. This isn't necessarily about being busy, because even busy, genuinely invested people find small moments to reach out simply because they want to. When someone is genuinely invested, reaching out tends to happen naturally, without needing to be prompted or scheduled in. When that initiation disappears and only responses remain, it's often a sign that the emotional pull that used to drive her to reach out first has started to quietly fade in the background. 2. Her effort becomes noticeably lower. Pay attention to the small things that used to happen without being asked. Remembering plans, showing up on time, putting thought into little gestures that weren't required but happened anyway. When feelings start fading, effort often quietly follows, not out of malice or a conscious decision to pull back, but because effort tends to flow naturally from genuine investment. And when that investment weakens, so does the energy behind the small things that used to feel effortless. This can look like cancelled plans becoming more frequent, less enthusiasm about spending time together, a general sense that she's just going through the motions rather than genuinely engaged in what's happening between them. Lower effort isn't always dramatic or sudden. It's often just a quiet without anyone having to ask twice. 3. She stops sharing the small stuff. Notice when she still tells you about her day. The small, unremarkable details that don't really matter on their own, but used to get shared anyway, simply because she wanted you to know them, wanted you inside the small moments of her life. When someone starts pulling back emotionally, they often unconsciously stop sharing these small updates first, long before anything bigger actually changes on the surface. This isn't always intentional withholding or deliberate distancing. It's often a natural byproduct of emotional distance, because sharing the small stuff requires a certain closeness, a sense that you're still someone she wants inside her daily life, not just the big milestones. That instinct, wanting to include you in the mundane, ordinary parts of her day, is often one of the first things to quietly fade once feelings start shifting. 4. Physical affection starts to feel routine. Pay attention not just to whether physical affection still happens, but to how it feels when it does. The quality behind the motion rather than just the motion itself. Does it feel present and intentional, or more like an obligatory motion, going through the expected gestures without much genuine warmth behind them, almost on autopilot? A hug that feels brief and automatic, affection that happens because it's expected rather than because it's genuinely wanted in that moment, often signals an emotional shift long before anything is said out loud between you. Physical affection tends to reflect emotional connection pretty accurately most of the time. So when it starts feeling hollow or routine, disconnected from any real feeling behind it, that disconnect is usually happening on the inside too, not just in how she's behaving physically. 5. She gets defensive instead of open during conflict. Here's the sign that's easiest to misread as something else entirely, often mistaken for stress or a bad mood rather than what it actually is. When someone is still emotionally invested, conflict, even difficult conflict, tends to come from a place of wanting to fix things, wanting to be understood, wanting the relationship to work out in the end. But when feelings have started fading, conflict often shifts into something more guarded, more defensive, less collaborative, and more like damage control. Instead of working through the issue together, she might seem checked out during disagreements, quick to shut the conversation down, less interested in actually resolving anything at all. This can look like irritability or coldness on the surface, but underneath it, it's often less about the specific argument itself and more about a growing emotional distance that started to show up even in how conflict gets handled between you.